Hello and good evening. Hello and good evening to you all. I don't know if anyone's there. Don't know whether you can hear me. I don't know whether you can hear the silly angle of this microphone, but I better not make it fall off because yesterday it fell off and that was a bit of a disaster. So, right, I better make sure that that's not going to fall off because that's a bit of a disaster waiting to happen. Is there anybody here? Have you all arrived? Right, okay. I thought it was at a good angle, but it isn't. As usual, technological fail. Oops. The stupid thing is not right at the right angle. Anyway, I hope you can hear me now. So I will sit here at this angle. This stupid light is absolutely useless. When we had the other light, it was much better, but obviously that got taken away. So, now there is no light that works at the right angle. So I look like a complete fucking vampire and I look like a complete fucking idiot. But there we go. So here we are, and good evening and welcome to you all. The sound is fine. Okay, well, the sound is fine, but the microphone might fall off the table, and the stupid light is at the wrong angle, of course, because it can't reach any other angles. So I could try putting it at a different angle like that, but no, that makes me look like even more like Hitler. There we go. And of course, today is VE Day, so I don't want to look like Hitler, do I? That would not be a very nice look on VE Day, would it? So let's try a different angle. Because you see, you can't actually do anything with these lighting until you actually go live. You can't actually. So anyway, it doesn't really matter, but anyway, never mind. I look like Dracula, so there we go. Hello to all of you. Hello, thank you. Victoria, my friend Victoria is here, the horse racing expert, Victoria. Lovely to have you, Victoria. We love Victoria. I love all of you, in fact, but we have a new pope. Yes, we don't know who the new pope is. Yes, I don't know, but they have sent out white smoke, and we talked about the white smoke yesterday and the black smoke and what they burnt. And my Italian friends are going completely mad. I'm part of a group. They call themselves the Club Rats. They go to all the smart clubs in London. We're not talking nightclubs. We're talking private members clubs, like 5 Hertford Street and the RAC Club and the Travellers Club. And I love the Travellers Club, and I love going there especially with Terry Waite. But I haven't been there in a long time with Terry Waite. Terry Waite is one of the most amazing people I have ever met. To endure having a bag over your head for 10 years, being held hostage by nasty, nasty people. What an amazing man. That he gives forgiveness to all these horrible people who treated him badly. Terry Waite is one of the kindest, most wonderful people on the planet. So I'm very, very lucky to know Terry. And Terry campaigns with me for a man called Mark Alexander. Mark Alexander is somebody who is in prison for murdering his father, but he didn't do it. And Terry Waite doesn't believe he did it. So I'm sorry about the noise. Yes, I did say no noise. Right, okay. Our lovely friend in the background is going to sit quietly and enjoy her wine. Well, now, obviously not. There we go. I just want to talk to you about Terry Waite, and it gets interrupted. It's just ridiculous. Terry Waite is one of the kindest men on the planet. To be able to forgive your kidnappers, as he has, and he lives in Suffolk. He is one of the most decent gentlemen on the entire planet. He lived in Lebanon in a hole with a bag over his head for 10 years. I can't believe I'm getting this in the background when I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to talk about somebody who actually suffered, a real sufferer. Yeah, again, I get put off. So, no, Terry Waite was a gentleman and a wonderful man, and I've enjoyed times with him at the Travelers Club. And he doesn't travel much anymore because he's an elderly gentleman, and since COVID, things have been difficult for him because of health conditions. And to have that level of forgiveness, you have to be a wonderful person. And he worked in the Church of England. And today we've got the election of a new pope. I'm not Catholic. I'm Church of England, but I'm not religious. I will say I do not go to church very often. I believe in God, but I don't believe in ceremony. I don't like the Bible. My problem is the Bible. I think the Bible's a book of lies because it's been adapted by so many people to suit whatever their own needs are. So I'm no fan of the Bible. I'm not a Bible basher, and I was kidnapped as a child by a religious fanatic. So that also put me off religion because I was locked in a cupboard by a lunatic. And she went on about God and how God didn't like divorced people. Well, my parents have been divorced a number of times between them. I'm not going to go into all the details of their divorce. My sister's divorced. Um, people who get divorced, this woman wanted to have them stoned to death. She was completely fanatical about, and when she found out I was the child of a divorced parent, she wanted that really set her off. She didn't like people who got remarried at the Methodist church in the village. I said, "Well, I'm not part of the Methodist church in the village. I don't go to the Methodist church in the village." But that still set her off because she knew that I was connected to divorced people. I don't know why I'm going into this. I hate talking about this because it normally ends up with me crying. It upsets me when I talk about this kidnapping of mine. But yeah, religious fanatics, I've experienced them. She locked me in a cupboard. I was kidnapped. I spent, I don't know how many hours. It doesn't matter how many hours when you're a child, locked in a cupboard by a lunatic. And then she offered me lemonade, which I knew was poisoned, and I thought well, I don't know what it would have done to me. It would have been a sedative, and it would have probably sent me to sleep or something. I don't think she planned to kill me. She wasn't that mad. But her husband came home, and he said, "What have you done now?" And he lost his job at the local school as a result of her behaviour previously. So I'll never forget Starbank Cottage Dolphin Home. Starbank Cottage, the house with no letterbox. Yes. So, yeah, Terry Waite experienced far worse than I did. He had 10 years locked in a dungeon in Lebanon, kidnapped because he was an emissary for the Church of England. Terry Waite is one of the most decent gentlemen on the planet, a fabulous man, and, fabulous. What a kind-hearted man. He forgives everybody because he's a man of he's a man of the cloth, and he's got a very different attitude to me. I wouldn't forgive these people. I would never, but that lady, I was just glad to get out of that house. I just ran away. I just ran. The minute when the husband came home and he opened the cupboard door, I kicked him in the shin and I ran and I ran. And I was very upset about one thing. I never got my bicycle back. And my parents didn't want any fuss, so there was no fuss made about it. It was dealt with very appropriately, according to my father. Um, she was sectioned ultimately, which is exactly what she should have been done in the first place. But my father just didn't want publicity, which is fair enough. I agree with him there. Publicity about this would not have helped me as a child, and I realized that many people want justice to be delivered publicly. That woman was mentally ill, and she deserved to be sectioned. So, actually, what my father did was the correct thing, but I still want my bicycle back. and I'll never get it back, but I don't need it anymore, do I? Because I wouldn't fit on it. It was quite a big bicycle, but it was a lovely bicycle. Um, my father and mother bought me a lovely bicycle because I was very into cycling at that point. Because my father's very obsessed with the Tour de France and all of this and all these cycling. He likes watching this stuff. I can't understand why anybody wants to watch this rubbish. I don't agree with him, but I know there'll be loads of people who want to watch it, and the Tour de France is coming back to Britain, I believe, in 2025. So there you go. You'll be able to watch it and enjoy it if you're into that thing. I don't see the point of watching a bunch of people racing around on bicycles because you can't tell which is which. It's an absolutely strange thing to watch, in my view. But my father, oh yes, he likes watching this. Oh, he goes all over the place watching that. He likes it's like my grandmother, who's now senile, but she likes watching golf. My father likes watching bicycles. I just don't get it. I've no interest. I like the horse racing, like my dad. I'm totally with him on that because you've got the pace, you've got the action, and boom, it's done and it's quick. It's over. But cycling, it's like he is going here and he's going here and he's going here and we're going around the corner. It's totally lunacy. You can't tell who's who. I wouldn't have a clue who's who. But anyway, are you into this or you're not? Which do you prefer? Do you like horse racing? Do you like cycling? Um, I'm sorry to go on about my silly kidnapping woman because she was a nasty nightmare, and I'll never forget Starbank Cottage. And at least I'm not crying about it because I used to cry when I talked about it, and thank God I don't cry about it anymore because it was a horrible experience. And she literally dragged me out into this garden and she said, "You will drink this lemonade." So I went and I didn't touch the thing. I knew what to do because my parents had prepared me for such an episode in case it happened because they anticipated it. And that was wise of them. And she, she went on about the village shop. That was my mistake. I said they're very nice people. I should never have said they were very nice people. That was when she got cross, and that's when she threw me back in the cupboard. She dragged me, and I tried to kick her it back into the cupboard. And she said they sell witchcraft. God knows what she'd have made of J.K. Rowling. She would have hated her with a passion. But no, her husband worked at a place called L.L. Grange, which was a kind of cult school. And her poor sons, they were just ordinary weirdos. But they lived in this little cottage. Anyway, they don't live there anymore because I've looked it up on Google Maps. Thank God. It's now got a letterbox, so they don't live there anymore. So somebody must have moved in. Thank God that I hope she's brown bread. I experienced a terrible thing, but she did terrible things to plenty of other people. She wrecked many marriages. She used to go to the Methodist church and she used to stop the marriages because the Methodists allowed divorced people to get married. So she'd go there and protest. Oh no, she was a very, very nasty woman. But, God knows what would have happened to me. But Terry Waite had to experience far, far worse than I did. So my experience was nothing. Let's be honest. It was an absolute, minor kickabout in the park compared to his 10 years in hell. And Terry is the most forgiving gentleman. And he supports Mark Alexander. So let's talk about Mark Alexander tonight. Mark Alexander is wrongly in prison. I haven't got any notes. I'm going to talk about this completely off the cuff. I'm not going to give any dates or things because I'm not going to misquote things. Mark Alexander is in prison for murdering his father. His father, an Egyptian. His mother, English. He didn't know he had a mother until he went to prison because his father had lied. They lived in a midsummer murders type village, Northamptonshire, um, near Milton Keynes, somewhere of that type. And they lived in a modern house on a cul-de-sac or whatever it was. And this strange man, the father, he didn't like opening the curtains, and he didn't like this, and he didn't like that, and he didn't like the other. Well, he sent his son to a very expensive school. I can't remember which one it was, and he had him, educated. And the son was very into music, learned to play many instruments, and he wanted to be a lawyer, and he went to study law in London. And this father all the time was manipulative, and he was lying all the time. The father was an identity fever. He had multiple identities. He stole the identities of all sorts of people. He was a fraudster. He was a mortgage fraudster. He was this kind of fraudster. He was that kind of fraudster. He was the other kind of, but nobody quite knew where he went or where he was or at any time. And this poor son, grew up with this bizarre father, and he didn't know what his father was doing. And he went to university, and he got on with his life, and he was trying to build a life, and suddenly he's arrested for murdering his father. And Terry Waite alerted me to this story, and Terry Waite has done a great work. Because Terry Waite is not going to just take on anyone. Terry Waite is an extremely respectable person. He worked with the Archbishop of Canterbury at the time. He worked with everybody. This is not a man who's going to just go, oh, this murderer is a good person. No. And he's not the only person supporting Mark Alexander. So I urge you to support the case of Mark Alexander, because Mark Alexander, the phone records show, definitely wasn't there at the time it happened. The father lied about everything. There's no evidence that Mark Alexander killed his father. If Mark Alexander would have admitted he killed his father, he would be out of prison right now. He refuses to do this. Like with Omar Benguit, who is another case that I totally 100% support, and his wonderful sister, who is one of the best campaigners I've ever come across. She is the most devoted of the lot, fabulous campaigner, and well done her for bringing up another BBC show. It's going to be shown soon. There's going to be another program in support of Omar, because Omar is not the killer in the case of Yong Okushi. So let's support these poor people who are not guilty. There are people in prison who deserve to be in prison. This is where I differ from a lot of the campaigners out there, and I'm going to come to another liar in a minute. I'll come to the liar, the liar of the day. I can't believe what she's done. How dare she? She's a very stupid little girl. But Yong Okushi was murdered by a man who murdered another woman 3 months later. He had murdered in Italy prior, and he lived 3 streets away. It was not Omar Benguit. And in the case of Mark Alexander and his father, it wasn't Mark Alexander, because the mobile phone records show from the tower that he was in London. He was not anywhere near. He could not be there on the dates that they claim his father was murdered and buried under the patio. So it's terrible. And I went to a case. So when we discuss the case of Julia, whatever she's called on, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, fake Madeline, the woman who, quite frankly, should bog off. She is a disgrace. And, she is the kind of person that stops these kind of people getting real justice because she muddies the waters. Liars don't help. But these people have to struggle for years and years. But when you have the belief of Terry Waite, a man who was held hostage for 10 years with a bag over his head for 10 years, who did nothing wrong. He did not commit a crime. He just went to a place on behalf of the Church of England and he got kidnapped. And he supports you, as in the case of Mark Alexander. Isn't it time that we all got behind Mark Alexander? I would like all of you to join the campaign to support Mark Alexander. I know many of you won't agree with me about Jeremy Bamber because I know I've had messages today from some of you saying, well, I like you, but I don't support Jeremy Bamber. Okay, that's your choice. I didn't support Jeremy Bamber at the beginning myself. I was like, well, I think that man's probably guilty. I went from 40% convinced that he was innocent, 40. I'm now 99% convinced he's innocent. So I'm sorry about the coughing in the background. The poor lady is very ill and she needs antibiotics, and I have to take her to a doctor because this does not happen when we're having lunch. So I don't understand why it has to happen when we're doing this program. But anyway, I'm talking about a very, very serious issue, and I'm not going to be distracted from it any further. Oh, please. Right. Okay. Sorry, I get distracted by this noise. I can tell you we are not going to give up on Mark Alexander. Mark Alexander needs to leave prison. Omar Benguit needs to leave prison. Jeremy Bamber needs to leave prison. There are others who I support. I'm not going to go into anymore because, I don't need to give a list. I think Lucy Letby belongs in prison. There you go. So I do have contrasting views. I don't trust. I believe Lucy Letby is as guilty as hell. I'm not a supporter of Lucy Letby, and even if she's proven innocent, because there will be a technicality she can try a trick on, probably because she's now got all these high-profile supporters, I will not be believing it. Sorry, don't like Lucy Letby. I think her and her parents they're crooked. There's a whole crookedness about that family. Don't like them. So there you go. Not going to be supporting them. Give her the jail card. Yeah, precisely, Expialidocious. Yeah, I'm very particular about who I support. I don't think a fact is a fact until you've checked it's a fact. And that's a classic line from Patricia Highsmith, who wrote The Talented Mr. Ripley. I think a fact is not a fact until you've checked it's a fact. I check my facts. I look into this. I've spent so much time on Mark Alexander because Terry Waite told me to. And he gave me the information. And during lockdown, I had the time to check. And I wrote a very extensive article. You can read it in the Steeple Times. Read it. Go and read it. I believe in Mark Alexander being an innocent man. In the case of Omar Benguit, I've spent time on that. The poor man, Omar Benguit, he wasn't a nice man. He definitely did some bad things, with heroin, and his poor sister and his poor family had to suffer all of that. But his sister has sacrificed her life for that brother. She's lost her restaurant business. She's lost everything because she does not tolerate it. And well done to the BBC who've actually campaigned with her, because a serial killer was living round the corner. For God's sake, you useless police. It was obviously him. He was used to using such knives to kill people. Omar Benguit was a heroin addict. He was not a killer. So shame on you, you useless people. Absolutely, I cannot stand the disgrace that is the British police. But the British police are useless. Someone tried to put a hat there. Someone, I'll say his name, Sam Palmer, husband of Petra Eccleston. He tried to strangle me in PJ's restaurant. The owner of the restaurant was happy to give the CCTV. Everybody was happy to participate, the staff, but the Metropolitan Police went, "Oh, Sam and Petra are very nice people." Now that is wrong, and I have persistently gone on about this, and I'm not going to shut up about it. I want an apology from the Metropolitan Police. I'll never get one because they hide behind their little thing. What did they do to Jean-Charles de Menendez, Cressida Dick, the Mrs. Dick, who became Dame Dick, who went to school with Ghislaine Maxwell, whose father taught Ghislaine Maxwell, paedophile Ghislaine Maxwell, sex abuser, sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell at Oxford. Lovely, classy bunch of people. Cressida Dick, who never did anything at the Metropolitan Police when in the 1990s there were investigations into Ghislaine's not Kinnerton Street house, Ghislaine's Stanhope Mews East house, which was watched by my former secretary's house, which I did a program. I was going to do a program with Channel 4 with about Cressida Dick, the woman who ordered the shooting of that poor man, Jean-Charles de Menendez, who was not a terrorist. He was just an electrician going to his job. And you had him shot, you evil bitch. You are a disgrace. You should have your damehood removed, you revolting woman, Dame Dick. The lesbian Dame Dick should not, and I'm not having a problem. I have no problem with people being gays, LGBTQ plus XYZ and whatever. I was going to do a quiz question on that because I was given the longest version in a book I found. And it's about 100 letters. But I can't do the rest because I don't remember the rest. So anyway, but no, I have many gay friends, many lesbian friends, many black friends, many Chinese friends, many French friends, many friends from Wagadoodle. I have friends from Ghana. My friend Prince Peter Rossi Tutu, King of Ghana. I have friends from everywhere. So I'm not being bigoted here, but Dame Dick, what she did in shooting an innocent man, shame on her. That man did not run. He walked down the stairs. He was not wearing a heavy jacket, as they claimed at first. That was a lie. They've admitted all their lies later. And that Ian Blair, Commander Ian Blair, Sir Ian Blair, or whatever he was called, nothing to do with Tony Blair, he lied. and he should have resigned. And Kirsty Ward did a wonderful program the other day, The Reunion, where they bring back all the people, all the family, and they brought back all the people involved in the story. How could you do that to that poor man? You disgusting people. And you don't even take responsibility, Dame Dick. So where are you hiding now, Dame Dick? I believe you're living in the Cotswolds, you nasty old bag. And, what happened with me with the Metropolitan Police? I was a victim of an attempted strangulation by Bernie Ecclestone's son-in-law. And they give him some kind of, oh, we'll give him a community. They knew I was abroad, so they said, we'll give him a community order. I said, I'd like to see it. Have I ever seen it? No. I don't know what the restrictions are. When I was a victim of Viscount St. David's, when he tried to offer a reward to kill me and Gina Miller and all the rest of it, and he offered the reward via Facebook, the wonderful judge at Westminster Magistrates Court, the highest judge in the land, a fabulous lady, she said to me and Gina, "What do you want?" She said, "I'm going to give him a 1-year restraint order." I said, "Well, that's not really enough." And Gina said the same. And I said, "Well, it really is not acceptable." They said, "This man's going to do something else to us." She said, "Fine, 5 years." And Lady Arbuthnot was fabulous. She was the highest judge in the land. She did a great job. The Metropolitan Police, on the other hand, they don't care about people like us. They don't. They look at us and think, "Oh, over entitled." But why do they help people like Petra Ecclestone and her ghastly husband who try and have me strangled? Not nice. And no, I will not shut up. No, I am somebody who speaks out. Um, why did he try and strangle me? Because he just didn't like me. He was a horrible. Look up Sam Palmer and look up his videos. You'll see what a class act this little rat is. No, I'm going to continue to speak out because I don't like that police officer and what she did to me. And I have been to many police stations and tried to make formal complaints. And I am going to actually make another formal complaint about this matter because I've had enough. I want a full apology from them. So, no, it's about time I actually made another apology. They made another apology. I want an apology. No, I'm not scared of anybody. I've been through a lot in my life. I've been kidnapped. Someone tried to strangle me. Thank you for the £20. That's a very kind thing of you. From no, I don't know why you gave me £20. That's very kind of you. Very generous. Why would you do that? That's very good grief. £20. Yes. Well, I've got to buy a new computer, but that's going to be an expensive exercise. So £20 does help. So thank you. 20 quid is always useful, but you didn't need to give me £20. But it's amazing. These things. I have not asked anyone to give me money on these platforms. I know everybody else goes, support and give. But sometimes you give me money, and I can't say anything other than thank you. That's very, very kind. And yeah, we'll add it to the fund for whatever we do for buying a computer that will make the thing. Maybe I can buy some better technology. So, if you all want to give some money to get better technology, you're very welcome. But I don't need you to. Please, you don't have to. I'll find a way of getting better technology. But £20, thank you. I don't know. And your name is No. So I don't even know who you really are because you just called yourself No. Okay, well, you're a very generous new arrival to No. I say cheers to No. 20 quid No. Thank you. Okay, very nice of you. I know on all these other programs that it's literally all the time. There's people giving £5 and £10 and £15 and whatever else. Um, yes, I believe I get some money from advertising. I do realize I do get that, but I don't understand why people give me money. But you're very kind, so thank you very much, Mr. No. Lynn's is saying a bottle of gin. Okay, well, thank you. If you're going to send me a bottle of gin, I could do with a bottle of number 3 gin. That would be really nice. I miss number 3 gin more than anything. I miss my mini cheddars. Being here, it's very nice in many ways, but I don't have number 3 gin, which is a very sad thing. I don't have Martin Miller's gin. I miss that. What else do I miss? Well, I can get the Archers, so I've got that. Um, I can get through life, and my friend sent me 1,000 Yorkshire tea bags, so half of the neighbours have had them all already, but because they all every single person that comes around wants the Yorkshire tea bag. But there we go. I miss a curry. Yes, I really would love to have a curry. Because the person I'm with doesn't like curry, so I can't go for a curry. I'd love a Ruby Murray. Yep, I'd love a curry. Really, I really would. I'd love a proper Chinese meal. I love that as well. I love that. I love most things, but I can cope without. Um, Yesterday, I got some horrible, cheap, nasty Findus fish, and I made a Mary Rose sauce, and I made myself a sandwich, and that made me happy because that's something I wanted to have. I'd rather have that than half the rubbish that other people eat. I like my own. I'm a very simple person. I don't like complicated things. Um, I like a burger and I like a fish finger sandwich, but I didn't. There were no fish fingers, so and now we've got this strange thing here. There are 30,000 of them. Harley Davidson fans, and they're all here. And well, they blocked the roads, so there's nowhere to go. We can't go anywhere. We don't have a boat, so we can't leave. We're stuck because they have taken over the roads with these stupid motor. Well, I will say they're beautiful motorbikes. For them, they are beautiful. My mother's into motorbikes in a way, but not those kind of motorbikes. No. They're very noisy and they just block the roads. And there's 30,000 of them. They've congregated. It was the first time they could have their congregation since 2018 because of COVID. So now they're here and they're having their little congregation. I don't know what they're congregating for or what they do in this congregation. What do they do? 30,000 of them. What do they? They can't look at all of them. I don't know what they do. Anyway, good for them. Hope they're having a nice time. That's all I shall say. I think I've had enough of them. There's 30,000 of them watching me. Well, there is not 30,000 of them watching me because I don't talk about Harley Davidsons. I don't know anything about them other than we used to have a neighbor in our village, as my father pointed out. He was a very odd man. He kept building extensions on his weird, ugly-looking house. It was a very ugly house in the village. And, he turned his garage into another room for something. He was a very odd-looking man. And he had this wife, but nobody ever really saw much of her. And then she fell down the stairs and died. And he got more, and then within about 2 weeks, he'd married somebody else. Very old. And then he kept buying. He'd obviously got a good insurance payout because he bought more and more of these Harley Davidsons. And as the man today said to me, a cheap Harley Davidson starts at £30,000. So he must have got some very good payouts for wife number one. I don't know what became of him because we left, because obviously my parents got divorced and that was the end of us living there. So I don't know what became next. So yeah, I'll never forget Harley Davidson, man. That's all I ever link Harley Davidsons with, is the man whose wife fell down the stairs and died in the village. And nobody liked him. And he looked a bit like Fred West. He was a bit curious. He was always polishing his Harley Davidsons. He was a bit obsessive. But I remember as a child, because you see, I used to wander around with all the dogs and things, and I'd take the dogs for a walk, and I'd go through this village, because we lived near the village, and I just didn't like the look of this man. It was a bit Midsummer Murders, And his wife fell down the stairs and died. And me, as somebody who used to love watching Miss Marple, and I'd have my little whiskey age 7 by the fire, and when I walked past that house, I always had this sense of death. I was a bit like Miss Marple. I had this curious thing, and I thought that, this man's a killer. I'm sure he's long dead now himself, but he was always polishing these Harley Davidsons. So Harley Davidsons, to me, are harbingers of doom. I don't have a liking for the Harley Davidson. I've always associated them with this murdering man, because I think he was a murderer. It's never been proven, obviously, but I'm not going to say who he is, because I'm not going to, make up a story that's not true. But as a child, I took one look at it, and I'm normally quite accurate, because I look into facts. And I was kidnapped in the same village. Anyway, the whole place was a bit weird. Lots of things went on there. There were lots of good things that went on in that village, I will say. It was the first village in England to have gas lighting. The first place in England to have gas street lighting, because the owner of the factory there was very, very rich. So he put gas street lighting in, and, we lived in a beautiful house there, and we had a lovely time. It was next door to Abbeystead, the estate of the Duke of Westminster, and he was a lovely neighbour. Lots of things went on there that were very pleasant, but well, anyway, yes, anyway, there we are. So, right, okay, you think that this could be a Stephen King story? Oh, well, maybe it could, but it's not. I'm not Stephen King, so I can't write Stephen King. So we have to leave Stephen King to Stephen King, don't we? Right. Okay. Have you any questions for me? There's lots of you coming in. I don't know why I'm banging on about all of this. It's ridiculous. It's time you asked me a few questions, and I was going to talk about something, but well, I don't know if we have time. Well, I suppose we do. I have plenty of time. You can see the boat rocking in the background. I don't know if it's going to be a storm here or not, but maybe there is. Have any of you any questions for me on any particular topics? Madam has gone to sleep, so that helps the matter. Okay, true crime. Okay, well, what's your particular question, Linz? That's not really a question, but thank you for your. I like you, Linz, but it's not really a question. Why do I do this? I don't know. I started doing it, and well, people seem to like it, so I came back. Uh, says Del Plummer. Why do I do this? I don't know. Do you like me being here or not? If you don't like me, I'll go away. I'll shut up. Are you suggesting maybe I should be quiet, Del Plummer? Is that probably a thing that you want? I don't know. Um, I don't know. I just did it and people liked it, so I did more of it. So there we are. Um, have I met Vera Lynn? No, I never met Vera Lynn. Never. No, nope, didn't meet Vera Lynn. What's my favorite lunch spot in London? I don't have a favorite, but I love going to PJ's, Fulham Road. I love Bibendum. I love Bellamy's in Mayfair. I love, oh gosh, where else? The Petit Maison, Mayfair. Golly gosh, in London. Not many left because most of my favorite places, lovely places, closed down. There you go. There's a selection. I'll get you started. The Puller Pot is nice on a summer's day to sit outside. Where else could you go for lunch? It's got to be lunch. Right. Okay. Lunch. A lunch spot. Ooh. Trying to think. Anyway, there you are. I've given you a good selection, I think. Right. Looks very like 007 tonight, do I? Oh, right. I don't think I'm quite James Bond. No, not quite. I look like more like complete mess. There we go. Well, we couldn't meet again. No, that's definitely the case with Vera Lynn. No, I've never met Vera Lynn, so I'm very sad. I have to say, never met Vera Lynn, but what a wonderful lady she was. And today is VE Day, and we should salute all the people who, you know, saved our lives. They were heroes and heroines, and they all did such good for all of us. What fabulous, wonderful people. We should never forget the dedication and service of every single one of them. They were absolutely wonderful people. So, VE Day, yeah, there we go. I don't know what else I can say because it doesn't. My opinion does not add to the narrative. It's not really important, is it? But I will say, what fabulous people that gave up their lives, their effort, and their time. And, there's been so many wonderful tributes today. I've listened to the Radio 4 coverage of it. And those people, did try so hard and did work so hard and did achieve so hard. So there we go. Wonderful people. Right. I look like a Bond villain. Okay, right. Well, I don't know. I probably am. Has a seagull ever nicked my fish and chips? No, never happened. Because I don't eat food. Well, I've never eaten fish and chips outdoors, to be honest. Well, I may have done eaten outdoors, but I've never eaten in a setting where the fish. I know that they like to take them from you on the seafront and places, but I've never witnessed that happen. So no, I've never witnessed it happen. Right. Right. Any more questions? What am I drinking tonight? Well, at the moment, I'm just having a beer, a little beer, because I've got to save her beer, save her wine for the night, which is what she needs, allegedly. There we go. When will I go back to the UK? I don't know. We are working on a solution. Do I think the US should stop practicing in a regime change? Well, I think that Donald Trump is going to do whatever the hell he wants, and no one's going to stop him. So Donald Trump will do whatever Donald Trump wants. There we are. You went to Hastings on the beach and you got surrounded by seagulls. Well, I have Brenda. Sorry, not Brenda. I have my two seagulls. My neighbors have all sorts of seagulls as well. But I have my two seagulls, Penelope and Keith. And, well, they're very particular, these two. Today, they got a bit of leftover fish. Keith seemed to like the leftover Findus fish because I didn't have fish fingers. I had to have this Findus piece of fish, which was, it made a nice sandwich with a bit of Mary Rose sauce. So Madam didn't want to eat that, so she just had a piece of fish, but she didn't eat much of it, as usual. So, yeah, I had that this morning, and yesterday it likes crisps because it likes the salt and the vinegar, or the chili, or whatever, and anything with a bit of taste. It will not eat the vegetables that I put out for it. No, it will not eat a rotten tomato or a fresh tomato. It won't eat courgettes. It won't eat anything. It's become very demanding, has Keith. But Keith is very territorial, and no other seagulls come near us, which that's the benefit. It's a great benefit for that because it protects my garden, and I've been doing lots of gardening whilst I've been here. So there we go. Anyway, right, you're having kebab and chips, fish and chips is a thing of the past, says Hatchy. Well, if that's your choice, that's your choice. Which seaside resort town in the UK would I recommend? Asks Nana. Well, go and pay a visit to Broadstairs. Go and see my nice friends in the Magnet pub. You can meet Max and lovely people there. Max and Elaine, and you can meet the lovely Alan, and you can meet the lovely Mario and the lovely June. So go there and pay them a visit and just say hello to them and ask to speak to the barmaid, the lovely the lovely ladies there who, just go and talk to them all. There's lots of lovely people in Broadstairs, so go and pay them a visit. I think Broadstairs should be on your list if you want to go to a lovely seaside resort in Britain. You'll be welcome to that. Nicola and her husband own the Magnet. I was going to do a program with one of the people from there, so it's a shame I didn't, but she's a lovely lady, but things don't always work out, so the program decided no, but it would have been nice to have done a program with the people from there. So anyway, right, okay. Right. Okay, well, there we go. Well, I'm getting messages coming in. I don't know what's happened here, but it's probably just about this stupid Pope. Because all the Pope people... Oh, yes, it is. It's just all the boring people going on about the Pope. Right, well, anyway... What do I think of Timmy Mallet? Well, I don't like Timmy Mallet. He's not a nice man. He was very malicious to me as a child, so I don't like him. Anyway, meanwhile today, and I'm going to talk about it, I don't mean any upset to Ron Swanson, who is a supporter of this awful woman, and Sean Atwood, also a supporter of this awful woman, but they are entitled to make their programs. But I do think that their program is, well, curious. I have tried to make contact with them, but they have not responded. This Julia Wandell is somebody who, quite frankly, has no respect for the law. Julia Wandell should be silenced. She should shut her mouth. She should not be going on programs. Julia Wandell has been making phone-in calls to Sean Atwood's channel with this man, Ron Swanson. I like Ron Swanson. I think he's a very nice gentleman. I have no personal problem with him, but I think that this Julia is a disgrace. She has gone too far. At a time when the McCanns have been awarded police protection for their vigil, their annual vigil about their daughter. Now, I don't like the McCanns either. I am not saying I support Dr. and Dr. McCann. I am a weird person in this case because I'm saying I don't like them. You know I don't like them. Everybody knows I don't like them. I've been talking about this for 18 years now. I don't trust the McCanns. I don't like them, not a supporter. But it doesn't mean they should be harassed. The harassment of their children, particularly, is what offends me. Because Emily and Sean, their children, I don't know them, don't know anything about them. I don't really wish to talk about them. But unfortunately, this little brat has made this Wandell, whatever she's called on a Wednesday, or whatever she's called on a Tuesday, or whatever she's called on a Friday. She could be called Peppa Pig for all we know. She's just a complete fruitcake. And she's not a fruitcake. She's a nasty piece of work, and she should be locked up for life. Frankly, she's mentally unhinged. There are lots of nasty people in the world, but those two children did not choose who their parents were. It's not their fault that they were left alone in that apartment. Also, they were lucky they weren't taken also, but for some reason they weren't taken. But we can't go into that. That's not really the issue here and now. The issue here and now is this pest, this petulant pain in the arse who is making things up. And okay, I like Ron Swanson very much and Sean Atwood, but they're encouraging that stupid woman by allowing her to make phone calls to their program. Now, as far as I'm aware, it is not correct for a prisoner to be making phone calls. As far as I'm aware, from what I have gathered from information that I've checked, Now, maybe they have made the arrangements, but prisoners are not meant to be making phone calls to live broadcasts or things that are intended to live broadcasts. Now, obviously, Sean Atwood and Ron Swanson are not considered to be mainstream media. They are YouTube broadcasters, and I have no problem with these two. They're very nice people. And, I'm not criticizing them, and I have tried to contact them this afternoon, but they haven't responded. But what I will say is, under the rights of law, if a prisoner, this is from the Ministry of Justice, wishes to contact the media by telephone and the call is intended or likely to be published or broadcast by radio or television or posted on the internet, the prisoner must first apply in writing to the governor for permission. The governor must decide whether to permit the application in liaison with press office. Did that occur with what's gone on with this phone call that they broadcast? There's no evidence that it did. Why did nobody stop this stupid girl? She is an absolute menace. Okay, and then there's another part of it where the prisoner is unconvicted, and this is very true in her case. Governors must be confident that both the prisoner and journalist understand the risk of prejudicing any ongoing court cases and are aware that it is the responsibility of the media organization to prevent the broadcast of any material that might be seen as contempt of court. So basically, by doing this broadcast, she has put herself in a position of potential contempt of court. This idiot is an idiot. Why is this silly little girl so stupid? And hello to cult television. Yes, it is a stupid thing. Parameters are given if approved. But how do we know it's been approved? And equally, before such parameters are approved, victim liaison letters will be sent first. So the McCanns should have been contacted before any of this was done. So this little mad woman has been making phone calls onto a YouTube channel from a prison, and nobody stopped her. Why has nobody stopped this little rat? It's disgraceful. Now, I don't like the McCanns, but I think that those children, Amelie and Sean, should be left alone. Leave them alone, you stupid little rat. And during this phone call, Julia Wandell, whatever her name is, I'm going to read you a few things. I'm very sorry, it's quite long. I'm going to pour myself a glass of whiskey in a moment because I'm going to have to go through it. So I'll finish the beer. Oh. I'm going to tell you a story because I was shocked to listen to it. And these people who, Sean Atwood and Ron Swanson, nice people they are. I have no problem with them. And it's their right to air this woman's views. But I think what she has done is totally irresponsible and wrong. I'm having sparkling water with my whiskey. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? Absolutely appalling. How common and lowbrow am I? Anyway. Right, she went on. I'm going to read out everything that I have. Right. So she went on first. They had no warrant. They don't follow their own rules. It's illegal to keep me here. All I did was ask them a simple question, left without any answers. Why not help me? Why lock me up? Skipping the law. I want to be home in October. Really. Don't ask questions. And how she fell out with Serge Sinclair Singh, the man who was rude to Lady Min, the man who was rude about my father, the man who represented the class acts, the Soham murderer sidekick, Maxine Carr, the man who represented the revolting, horrible Karen Matthews who hid the child under the bed, the man who represented the Jill Dando cleared person who happened to also do a few other crimes, etc., etc. And he doesn't work for her anymore, allegedly. She said she self-harms. But she said, I'm not suicidal. I don't want to harm myself or anyone. I haven't spoken with Serge in a while, maybe 2 months. I want to get answers and then have a nice, peaceful life. Well, why do you go around with Karen in the Crocs from Cardiff? That freak. And she's another nuisance, I can tell you that. I want some people don't appreciate my legal fight for justice and the truth, she added. They simply want to silence me. Typical ranting, raving lunatic, hey? In a position where I cannot get the truth. Does anyone believe this freak? She needs to get a bus ticket to nowhere. That's where she should go. Send her to hell. These people don't want the truth to come out because it could potentially open a can of worms. No, what does that add to the narrative? It looks like I am a political prisoner, she added. This is all in order during this phone call that they made. If anything happens to me, it will not be an accident. Oh, yes. She's trying the Virginia thing here. She thought, oh, poor Virginia, who is actually an innocent person who didn't, but she just killed herself. They all do, these kind of people. But don't believe all this nonsense that it's all one grand conspiracy that they get murdered. This woman is latching on to that. She is a manipulative little rat, this one. Awful. She's a bucket of snakes. Yep, I agree with you, Linz. For crying out loud. Totally agree with you. Her next one. I am concerned and I am scared. I start having problems with physical health that I have not had before. Oh, yes. Have we heard that one before? If anything happens to my underpants, it'll be an accident, says Mr. Lee Kicker. Yes, well, perhaps if you eat too much curry, that might be a problem. But in her case, mad woman, totally deranged. Okay, so the next one. Some members of the family have raised me, have tried to cause troubles, she said. The whole situation is very unusual. I don't know what to do or think anymore, but I try to stay as strong as I can. Who on earth does she think she is? Some kind of Hollywood siren? And then she salutes the people who've supported her. You are nice people. You have my back. Thanks for the support. She says, it's very suspicious. The paper evidence I ask for, I want answers. Statements from them full of lies. Keep your fingers crossed for me. The truth will win. And then she turns to her little rant, and oh my God, this woman is a complete fucking fruitcake. She is off the scale loony. This one belongs in the loony bin. I am a victim of an unforgivable injustice, she rages. My human rights have been violated. They have denied me access, ignored the evidence, and I'm giving this gaps because I can't be bothered reading all the rest. This is not just a personal tragedy. For God's sake. It's so boring. Today I demand justice. Who on earth does she think she is? I know that I am a victim. Have you ever come across such a lunatic as this freak? She's a fruitcake. I know that it happened to me. What happened to you? You're not Madeleine McCann because you're 2 years too old, you stupid bloody idiot. I am still a victim. I am still a human. Those accountable should be held responsible as a citizen of the world. Oh, here we go. You know, when you get into being a citizen of the world, you can be anything, can't you? You can be anything anywhere. I am protected under the rights of human rights laws, the United Rights Conventions on the Rights of a Child, my fundamental human rights, Article 8, Article 12. And then she goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. So I can't be bothered quoting any of that. They are making an example of me. Legally, I shouldn't be captive. Well, you went and harassed people, you stupid madam. You're an idiot. If you hadn't gone to people's houses with a woman called Karen Spragg in her Crocs from Cardiff, you wouldn't be arrested, would you? You're worse than the village idiot. You're a fool. I do not blame the police for arresting this moron. What do you think, viewers? Do you like okay, let's do a poll. Do you like Julia Wandell or whatever she's called on a Wednesday? Or do you dislike her? Like 1, 2, dislike. She's mad, in my view. I dislike. Right. Most of you here dislike her, yes. Right. Nicola likes her. Right. Jules is indifferent. You feel sorry for her. Why do you feel sorry for her? What reason is there to feel sorry for this mad woman who is telling porky pies? She's as mad as a box of frogs. Yep. You've no feelings either way. Okay. Now she wants to be a human rights lawyer. She wants to go home. She wants to lead a life. She said, I've got French fries here, but I want dumplings because she's obsessed with dumplings because she's Polish. She says, I like hash prawns. I don't know what hash prawns even are, but she claims she gets them in prison, but she doesn't like the prison breakfast. And she doesn't understand why the prisoners like the breakfast. Well, there we are. She's still having a laugh. Yes, well, she's definitely making the most of prison. She then added, I know that I'm scared, and that's why I have to go live. Go live. Because this is what they all do. We have to go live on a podcast. Yep. Well, I do a podcast, and I'm here, and I'm going live. Yes, and it does say on the screen going live. But I don't say, yeah, I say I'm here now. I'm here. I've arrived, don't I? I don't go. I'm going live. I can say I'm going live if you want. It sounds like Philip Schofield, doesn't it? Going live, and he was a nasty piece of work who upset my mother once. We don't like Philip Schofield. He's another piece of toe rag. Anyway, we won't go down that route. She says, I know that I'm scared, and that's why I have to go live to protect me in case anything happens to me. It is a test of my faith in God. So now she's found the bloody religion. Yes, she is a total pain in the neck, isn't she? Little Miss Ratbag has found God. So there we are. I don't like Little Miss Ratbag, and I hope you don't like her either, because quite frankly, she needs to put a sock in it. She needs to shut up. And I'm very sorry. The other one is coughing and not well, and I'm very sorry she's not well. But we're going to try and deal with this coughing tomorrow, but we can't really go anywhere because we're stuck here because of the 30,000 fucking motorcycles. But there we go. That's another matter. But right. So anyway, she then said, I love you to Sean Atwood and all her followers and Ron. And he's a very nice, they're very nice people. Don't get me wrong. I don't have a problem with them. They do their own thing. I do my own thing. But I am not going to be supporting this slime bag horrible woman who goes around harassing those poor children. No, it's completely wrong what she's done. The twins, the McCann twins, never chose to be part of this story. They were forced to be part of this story. Dr. and Dr. McCann, I have utterly no sympathy for. I think they are shameful and disgraceful people. I think they should be charged with child neglect. But I think those twins should be left in peace. And quite rightly, the judge has agreed at the trial of this little rat, they should be behind a screen because they're not public figures. Dr. and Dr. McCann are quite happy to go on a little program and go, oh, we're going out with the Pope. Oh, we're going out with Philip Green. We're going out with Richard Branson. Well, there's two scumbags that they hang around with. Sir Christopher and Lady Mayor. Oh, yes, Christopher Mayor. A lovely man he was. Yeah, had a bit of a court case with him, dealt with him. No, I don't like those kind of people. But those children deserve to be left in peace. So shame on you for harassing those children. The children have no need to be harassed because they never chose. They were born after this Madeline, and they didn't have. Their lives have been ruined by association with it. I'm sure in the playground it's been, oh, what did your mum and dad do, or whatever. I'm sure there's been an awful lot of speculation. So it can't be a nice life that those two children have led. So leave those two children alone because it's not their fault. They are guilty of zilch, zero, and nothing. They are innocent faces on this matter. That is how I feel. TMTB says Madeline's parents make no sense. Totally agree with you. Why did they pay for childcare during the day, but they didn't pay at night? Let me see if I can find my page, my relevant page. My relevant page is the most important one. It's in that book. I don't know. Oh, sorry, something fell off the table, but never mind. If I can find it, I will read you every question. I'm going to read you all the questions if I can get it, because quite frankly, this is what we need to talk about. Yes, I need my. Oh, here we are. Got it. Okay. This is what I put on the end of every single article I ever write about Madeleine McCann. These are my 10 questions. Okay, question number 1. Why did Kate McCann refuse to answer 46 questions put to her? Please don't make that noise in the background. Sorry, I do apologize. Okay, I'll begin again because that really did, that noise was terrible. Why did Kate McCann refuse to answer 46 questions put to her by the Portuguese police? Question number 1. Okay, why were certain records of police of phone calls on the evening of the disappearance whoosh clunked, i.e., wiped? Why they called it whoosh clunked? That's what they called it themselves. Why did they whoosh clunk delete all the messages from the memories of the phones of Mr. and Mrs. McCann and the Tapas 7, i.e., the 9, because the 9 is including them. Because some people call it the Tapas 9, some people call it the Tapas 7. Okay. Why were relevant mobile phone records never handed over to the authorities in spite of them potentially being useful to the search? Why were they never handed over? Why didn't they give them? Why did they destroy evidence? What is wrong with these McCanns? Okay. Why did the couple not use the babysitting service on offer in the holiday resort on the evening of the 3rd of May 2007 when they went out on the razzle dazzle with friends, when they paid for it during the daytime? So why wouldn't they pay it? Why wouldn't they pay for the evening? These are not poor people. The doctors, they live in a detached house. They're rich. They're not poor. They could afford it. Why why? Why was the door to the apartment, which opened directly onto a public highway, not into the resort, left unlocked with 3 children aged under 3 years old alone inside it? Why did they do that at night? Why would you do that? It's a very strange thing to do. Why did you leave the door unlocked? Because you lied about the windows as well, and that's another matter, but that's a different. I'll come to that in another time. That's a separate story, and I should have added that to this question. Why did a British sniffer dog sense the smell of a corpse in the cupboard in the apartment from which Madeleine McCann disappeared? Why was the dog? And you attack the Portuguese police, you nasty people, Mr. and Miss Doctor and Dr. McCann, and said, oh no, it was a Portuguese dog. No, it was a British sniffer dog. And it sensed death in the cupboard. Okay. Why did the McCanns repeatedly try to discredit the work of the sniffer dogs and their handlers? You really went after the sniffer dog people. You said they were making it up. Well, they were British. They weren't Portuguese. And you have been sued successfully, McCann woman, by the Portuguese police officer. You had to pay him 600,000 in damages because you got it wrong. You are incorrect. Why, did Mr. and the Doctor and Dr. McCann go jogging and play tennis just a couple of days after your daughter's disappearance? I'm sorry, if your child goes missing, you go for a run and you play tennis. That is not normal behavior. That is weird. That's the mark of somebody odd. And I never ever brought that up with you when I met you. I never ever said anything other than hello and who are you? Nice to meet you. And you immediately got aggressive with me. I find you the most strange couple in the world. I have met serial killers in the past. I've interviewed all sorts of people. But I find you two, quite frankly, freaky. There's something very weird about you two. And you're not telling the truth. And one of you is lying. There we are. I shouldn't say any more than that because otherwise I'll get sued. Okay, next question was the next question of the questions. Was it acceptable for the doctor and Dr. McCann's mortgage to be paid by the fund established to search for their missing daughter? Why the pup? Do you think Mr. Mrs. Beechwood from Wales, who gave £5, did she give her £5 to pay for the mortgage of Dr. and Dr. McCann's house? Probably not. No, she wasn't intending for her money to be paying for that, was it? Why have the McCanns attempted to gag anyone who disputes their version of events, most especially Goncale Amaral? And he has been paid 600. Well, he won a £600,000 damages case against that ghastly couple. Absolutely appalling there. Why, given over 14 million has been spent on this search to date, has nobody come forward with any sighting of any missing Madeleine McCann, given the very substantial rewards on offer? There you go. There's a few punchy points to spice up your life. I don't think that the McCann girl ever left that apartment. I'm not saying I know the truth. I could be completely wrong. I know as much as you. We all know nothing. Nobody knows anything. But the cat of our dogs, the cupboard, the car, the sightings of the man carrying the body across the town, everything else, it doesn't add up. I'm sorry. A reward, £14 million of money, and nobody can find this child because there's huge rewards on offer. The son alone. My friend Rebecca Brooks, opposite, lovely Rebecca. Well, I'm not a great friend of Rebecca. I'm a friend of her husband more than anything. But they offered 1.5 million reward. Somebody would trade somebody in for this money if this child existed. The child is dead. It's brown bread. It doesn't exist. The child died in that apartment, and the evidence of the blood spatter on the curtain, the evidence of the cupboard, the evidence of the car. We all know what really happened, but we can't say it. That's just what it is. It's how it happened, we don't know. And who did it, we don't know. But Christian B is an innocent man in this case. Christian B is an evil fucking bastard. He is a vile pedophile. He is a nasty, nasty man who raped and did bad things. But he didn't do this. He was the patsy. It's nothing to do with it. Christian B is nothing to do with this case, in my view. So enough talking about Christian B. And I know they've started again in the newspapers, and there was a program last night on Channel 4. Yep. Christian B. Blame Christian B. No, not correct. Totally wrong. Don't agree with it. So there we go. The truth will never come out, says Expialidocious. I tend to agree with you because I don't think anybody will ever be found, because I believe Madeleine McCann is underneath the foundations of a building, because there were lots of building sites in that place, and that's where I believe the child's body probably is. The body was disposed of under a building site. That's probably the most likely thing that happened, but that is speculation. I am making speculation, and sorry, I should not be even saying that on live television because that's stupid. Because I'm just making something up. It's just another load of rubbish to add to the narrative. I am not an expert on what happened, but I have encountered lots of the people involved in the story. So I do know a bit more about the story than most people. But my view is, yeah, there is no child to be found. The child died that night. There's no child. There's no body to be, because by now, with all this money thrown at this case, somebody would adopt somebody in, because everybody wants money. Every single one of these greedy little rats wants money, especially down there in that place. They all seem to be very greedy people. So yeah, no, I stand by what I say. I've given you my questions. My questions are honest questions, and I repeat them every time. And I'm just somebody who happens to have some connection with the story. But I will say this. There's no way that that child's still alive. And that Julia Wandell is a complete fraud. She is a fake. She's a liar. She's a deceiver. And she should shut her mouth. She is completely insane. And these silly people who I know, who I perfectly like otherwise, I'm very sorry. I won't be agreeing with you. This woman is not Madeleine McCann. She is not all the other people she claimed to be, because she's a faker. She just fakes people. She's a fake. And anyway, I will continue to speak out in every story that I'm involved in, because I don't believe in fakers. There we are. Right. Okay. Right. Right. Okay. So, what opinions have we gotten from any of you? Let's have some opinions from somebody. She's mentally ill. Yes. Yes. It doesn't give her the right to cause the twins harm. I totally agree with you. Nicola is completely correct. She's mentally ill. She's not Madeleine McCann. I don't like the McCanns, but that doesn't mean that this little rat should be harassing. As for this DNA test, well, why should they be forced into doing anything with this lunatic? The woman's a lunatic. She's mentally unhinged. She needs locking up. She isn't a match. You think a 69% DNA match is a good thing? No, it's hardly conclusive, is it? So it's not 99.999, is it? Not very convinced by any of that. No. I think she's mad. Complete cuckoo. She's the cuckoo in the nest. She's mentally ill. She should not be causing these twins harm, says Nicola. Well said, Nicola. Yes, we agree with Nicola. Hello, Lady Men? Don't we agree with Lady Nicola? She shouldn't be harming the twins. No. She doesn't get it. She's kind of half asleep. Okay, right. Well, we'll keep her quiet. Right. She shares half her 60% with cucumbers. Right. Okay. Well, anyway, well, we'll move along and we'll go on to a quiz, I think, because I think we've been going for 1.5 hours. So it's probably time we had a quiz. So, oops, we did it again. Hmm. Well, unfortunately, my companion here is going to sleep, and but will be coughing throughout this quiz, clearly, which is not very helpful. So anyway, I need one of you to help me with a quiz if we can. We don't need it. I can always manage it by myself. But in fact, I don't need anybody to do anything. I'll just do it myself. I can do everything myself. Oops, we go. We've just lost a thing. But anyway, right. We'll choose a quiz. Here we are. I've got loads of quizzes I've written. Whilst I've not had a computer, and it's very extremely kind of my lovely neighbours, the McCrackens, lovely family, delightful. We just had a drink with two of them. They are so generous to have loaned me a computer. I will be getting a new computer, but I've got to work out how I get a new computer because the voltage and all the rest of it, French, English, very boring. It's extremely tedious. All this, God knows what I'm going to do. They are very, very nice. So it's been very nice that they've loaned me a computer. So anyway, you can watch me, and according to them, the screen is even clearer than my Mac. But oh gosh, now I'm getting WhatsApp messages. Oh no, I'm sorry. I apologize for the WhatsApp messages because this is a bunch of Italians and they're celebrating the arrival of the new Pope. So I stupidly downloaded onto this computer. Oh God. Now the lighting's gone completely mad. The lighting goes mad on these. When we had another light, it was much better, but I now look like bloody fucking Dracula. I look bloody awful. I do apologize. Oh my God. I look evil. Oh my God. I look like the devil. I look like Donald Trump on crack. Oh my God. I'm very sorry. Yes. We have a new pope. Yes. Yes, we do have a new pope. I'm sorry. I'm not Dracula today. I don't want to be Dracula. I really am sorry. My sound is out of sync. I don't know what that means. I've no idea. What do you mean my sound is out of sync? I can't change the stupid sound. I don't know how it works. Do I look like the Oracle? Oh dear. I know you're my good friend, but sorry, my sound is out of... Can you hear me? Am I loud and clear? It's fine again now, says Cult Television. Right, okay, well, I don't need to shout, do I? So I'll talk in my normal voice. Thank you. Right. Okay. Right. We're going to do a quiz. Now, which one of you is going to help me with my quiz? Is it one of you going to help me or not? I need one of you to help me with my quiz. You're deaf, says Keeley. Okay. Well, I'll shout at you, Keeley, whoever you are. Lovely to have you, Keeley. You're a lovely lady. We like you. You've been around for a very long time. We like you. You've been a long-term fan, or supporter, or whatever we call it. Right. Okay. Well, anyway, I'm going to do my quiz with. I'll just do the bloody quiz. Right. Okay. I'm going to choose. Not today's one that I wrote. Not that one. Let's begin. I might give you two quizzes. You might get one. You might, if you're lucky, you'll get two. Okay, right. We'll begin with this one. I don't know what it is. Right. Okay. Now, I'm going to have to keep it up here. Right. Question number 1. As of 2025, which team was Mohamed Salah a striker for? Mohamed Salah, 2025. Who does he play for? Linz wins the point. Well done, Linz. It is Liverpool. Linz of Liverpool. Linz is Liverpool. Yes, he's the multiple Premier League winner. I think I wrote this one today, actually. Oh, gosh. I've written so many of them that I just keep going. I just keep, once I start, I just keep going. It's unbelievable. With which sport is Holly Aitchison associated? Holly Aitchison. Holly Aitchison. No, it's not hockey. It's not tennis. It's not swimming. It's not sailing. It's not dogging. It's not running. Holly Aitchison. Audrey gets it. Audrey can have it with rugby. Audrey is correct. Audrey gets it correct with rugby. She's the Women's World Cup fly half. There we go. So Holly Aitchison. She's a very great achiever in rugby, and I'm sorry that not many more of you don't know who she is. Shame on you for not knowing who Holly Aitchison is, because what a wonderful lady she is. I think you all ought to read up on Holly Aitchison. Go and read on the internet about Holly. Holly is a lovely lady, and I say cheers to Holly. We must salute people who achieve. Achievers must be supported. So come on, all of you. Pathetic that you don't know who she is. Very disappointed in you all. Absolutely shocking. Very, very upset with you. Right, next quiz question. Okay, well, you better know the answers to this. What is the 2025 Netflix series Race for the Crown about? What is the 2025 Netflix series A Race for the Crown about? It's nothing to do with royals, no. Lois Petzold gets it. Well done to Lois, who's a very regular, successful quizzer. You are a brilliant quizzer, Lois. Lois Petzold, the brilliant quizzer, gets it. Well, of course, it's about horse racing, Race for the Crown. Frankie Dettori, the Triple Crown series, the Belmont, all the great races. So I haven't seen it. I'd love to see it. And I ought to get Netflix. It would be a great thing to have. But we don't have a television in this bloody house, so we can't watch such things. But if we got a television, we'd definitely be watching Race for the Crown, because that's what I want to watch. I'd love to watch that program. So if we got a television, we'd be watching that. Anyway, next question. In China and Hong Kong, when red paint is thrown over buildings, what does it symbolize? What does people throwing red paint over a building mean? I'll accept multiple answers. It's not death. It's not murder. It's not Margaret Thatcher, no. Don't pick on Margaret. It's not revolution. It's not a new building. It's not good luck. It's not criminality. No. None of you are red paint. It's not pomposity. It's not birth. It's not money. It's not labor. It's not gangs. No, none of you are any good. You've got. I told you could have multiple answers, but your answers are rubbish. It's not disease. It's not shame. It's not good fortune. It's not Chinese. It's not protection. It's not thieving. It's not communism. It's not an empty house. It's not danger. It's not poor credit. It's not promotion. It's not New Year. It's not a brothel. It's not Margaret. Oh, again, pick on Margaret. You always like to pick on Margaret. Horrible people. Leave Margaret alone. It's not the sun. Okay, right. No points awarded. 0 points awarded. The answer, of course, is intimidation of rival gangs, anger, implosion. It's been happening now in Liverpool, Clacton-on-Sea, Colchester, Reading, and in Bradford as well. Not only in those places. So 0 points awarded. You all are the weakest link. As my dear friend Annie Robinson will say, you are the weakest link. Goodbye. You failed on that question. Absolutely useless. Very shocked and appalled that you didn't get that one. Okay. Well, now you're not going to like this next question, and I bet you won't get the answer either. So this is going to be another challenge to you. Which hotel chain, the equivalent of Conservative councillor Janet Evans's Janet's Bar, which you also love, as of 2025, has won for 11 years in a row the worst hotel chain in Britain, according to which travel magazine? Which one? Who won the award? Which company? It's not Westminster. It's not Condé Nast. Condé Nast is a magazine. So that can't be a hotel. That's a ridiculous answer. It's not the Premier. Britannia Hotels. I will allow it. Yes. Britannia Hotels. Jana wins the point. So, Jana, you are the winner. 1 point to Jana. Of course, they have 60 hotels. The water was contaminated with bleach. The owner is called Alex Langsam. He's an Indian. It's filthy and it's disgusting. What a horrible place. You wouldn't want to stay there, would you? Okay, so at the moment we've got nobody in the lead. Zero person in the lead. We've got a couple of people with 1 point, but there we go. Okay, what is inscribed on Stratford-upon-Avon's town hall? What is inscribed on the town hall in Stratford-upon-Avon? What is inscribed? It's not live, laugh, love. Not excrement, no. It's not graffiti. It's not William Shakespeare. It wasn't Shakespeare was here. All right. It wasn't. Ah, well, you've got it. God save the king. Sandy D. I'll allow that. Yes. Sandy D gets the point. God save the king. You can have it. They inscribed "God Save the King" long before King Charles. So I don't know when they inscribed it, but that's what they inscribed upon their. Okay. In which year did Vivek Singh first open a cinnamon club restaurant in London? Vivek Singh's Cinnamon Club. Lovely place. I very much enjoyed going there, and I'd love to have a curry. I really need a curry in my life right now. Um, hmm, no, 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 no. It wasn't 2027 because we're not in 2027. Are you stupid or something? Were you born in a barn? How on earth could we be open in 2027 when we're in 2025? That's the most silly thing I've ever seen. You're obviously mad. Uh, hmm. Um, I think Sandy D can have the point. Sandy D gets the second point. So Sandy D goes immediately into the lead. Well done to Sandy D. Of course, it was 2001. He's got 5 restaurants as of 2025, one in Dubai. I love the Cinnamon Club. Fabulous Indian food. Oh, if I could have some Indian food right now, I'd be so happy. I'd Chinese Indian food. I'm so bored of food without spice. I like spice. Spice is so nice. Spice with spice at twice the price. Who cares? Right. Anyway, with which sport is Princess Anne's daughter Zara Tindall primarily associated? With which sport is Zara Tindall primarily associated? Um, James Webb says dressage. I'll have that. James Webb. I'll accept your point because you mean horse. Yes, I'll accept your point. I would have said horse jumping, but okay. In which crime thriller did Jack Hawkins star in 1956? In which crime thriller in 1956 did James Hawkins star? It wasn't Scarface, it wasn't Sherlock Holmes, it wasn't the 49 Steps. Audrey gets a point. Well done, Audrey. Of course, it was The Long Arm. So well done, Audrey. Yes, we have. Okay. As a victim of Jeffrey Epstein, what was poor Virginia Giuffre, known? What was she known when she was a victim? I need the full description. I need the entire name. What was her name in the court case? It was not Virginia Roberts, and it wasn't massage therapist. No. It wasn't Roberts. No. It wasn't Miss A. No. It wasn't jury. It wasn't claimant 6543. No. It wasn't witness A1. No. No. Okay, I'm going to award 0 points in this matter. It wasn't victim 1, no. Her name was Jane Doe 102, which was a very well-known thing that she was known as. So I'm very surprised you didn't know that. But anyway, that's 2 questions you've failed on thus far. Shocking and appalling. We're going to carry on with Virginia. Who did Virginia declare to be the most hideous dancer I've ever seen in my life? The most hideous dancer. Who did she declare to be the most hideous dancer? The Blue Nomad gets it straight away. Blue Nomad. The answer, of course, was Prince Andrew. She said of him, he was sweating all over me. He was disgusting. That was Tramp in March 2001. The filthy, sweating pig. That's what he was. Okay. Which actor played Coronation Street's lovable rogue, Dennis Tanner, a nice man, from 1960 to 1968, and again from 2011? What was his name? What was the name of the actor? It wasn't Noel Edmonds. It wasn't Keith Chegwin. Audrey gets another point. Well done. Audrey is now in joint first position. Of course, it was Philip Lowry. Of course, he was involved with Elsie Tanner. He was the Guinness World Record holder for the longest gap between TV appearances as the same character in the same show, until he was beaten by William Russell, who was in Doctor Who in October 2022. So there you go. There you go. Who is the presenter of University Challenge as of 2025? He's also on Radio 4 every morning, or most mornings, irritating me because I can't stand him. He's very irritating. It's not John Craven, no. Audrey gets another point, so now Audrey is in the lead. The answer, of course, is Amal Rajan, a man who cannot do anything other than put sentences into one word. He really is the most irritating, boring person who used to do press-ups in front of the owner of the Evening Standard, hang around with Boris Johnson, and really, he's just the most boring little man. I can't stand him. I really can't stand him. He's putting me off my lovely Radio 4, which I love in the morning. I prefer it on the days when he's not the presenter. I really do. But anyway, Audrey is now in the lead. So Audrey is winner, chicken dinner at the moment. Okay, so as of 2025, next to which New York park is the delightfully sophisticated Jean-Georges restaurant located? I love Jean-Georges. Whenever I've been in New York, I've enjoyed going there. Which park is it located next to Jean-Georges? Right. The first one to get it amongst you is Lois. So Lois, you get a second point. So you're in. You get a point. Of course, it's Central Park. It's at 1 Central Park West, a lovely restaurant. One of the most lovely restaurants in the world. Love that restaurant. Okay, in Cockney slang, what does currant bun mean? What is a currant bun? In Cockney slang, what's a currant bun? Lynn says son, but you've spelt it incorrectly. Anne of Cleves gets the point. Anne of Cleves can have the point because you've spelt it with the correct way. It's the Sun, as in the Sun newspaper. So it's not son as in a child, which I know you meant to be correct, but you did not spell it correctly. I have to give correct spelling. In fact, in future episodes of all of these quizzes, we won't be having anyone who can't spell correctly. If you don't spell it correctly, you don't get the point, okay? I'm not going to be giving. Actually, I'm going to be. I'm going to be like the Viper. I will be a nasty piece of work when it comes to spelling. If you don't spell it correctly, you don't get the point. Hmm. Right. There you go. I've banged it on the table. I've told you my position, and I'm not going to be changing it. You will have to spell the word correctly, and in this case, the first person spelt it incorrectly, but got the word right. I know the intention was right, but I'm not having any of you arguing with me, and I'm sick of you arguing with me, going, well, I got there first, which you did yesterday. That was very boring. Absolutely nonsense. Right. Okay. So we're going to stick and we're going to carry on with this principle this evening. So if you don't spell it correctly, zilch point. You don't win. Okay. Where was I up to? I can't remember which one I got up to. Okay. Right. What is a thankful village? What is a thankful village? £4.99 from Deanne Daly. Your cat's doing better today. Thank you for yesterday's well wishes. You didn't need to give me money to say thank you for your cat getting better, but that's very nice of you. Thank you, Deanne Daly. You're very generous. Thank you. Anyway, Deanne, very nice. Right. Audrey wins the point, so Audrey is now in the lead with 4 points. It's a village in the First World War where nobody lost any people because most villages were wiped out in the First World War. So a blessed village or a thankful village is exactly that. Okay, but thank you very much to Deanne Daly, who gave a donation. I don't know why you're giving me a donation. But anyway, thank you. That's very kind. Right, next question. Right. In which sector does Alibaba specialize? Alibaba, what do they work in? Alibaba. It's not thieves. Out of your answers, I will accept Audrey, who is now very much in the lead with 5 points. E-commerce. Audrey gets the point as e-commerce. It would be either e-commerce or technology, and Audrey got there first, so Audrey deserves the point. She's now got 5 points out of all the questions. Out of 20 questions, Audrey's doing very well, isn't she? We've got Lois Petzold in second place, along with Sandy D, who's got 2 points, but no one's quite catching up with Audrey. So we'll let I will say Audrey is our winner for the moment. And no, some of you seem to be disapproving of the way that I'm running this quiz, but that's up to you. It's my quiz. I'll run it the way I want to run it. So don't you tell me what to do, please. Thank you. If you don't like my quiz, get out of my pub, as Peggy Windsor would say in EastEnders. So no, I will not be told how to run my quiz. My quiz is perfectly legitimate, and yes, this Audrey is winning. So I'm not going to change the way my quiz is run. If you don't like it, bog off. I'm sorry, I'm not changing my rules. My rules, my quiz. So shut up and go away if you don't like it. But if you do like it, you're very welcome to stay. And I think you're all wonderful. So anyway, right, next. Okay. Right, I can't remember what. Now I've got to find the next bloody. Where was I up to? Right. Okay. I think we've done that one. Okay. We've done Alibaba. What are echinitas? What is an echinida? They're not sweet. They're not snacks. ECHIDNAS. It is not a sweet. It's not a plant, and it's not food. It's not an insect. No. Keely can have the point. I'll give the point to Keely. It is an animal, yes. I'll give it to Keely because I like Keely. Because you're sensible. You're not an idiot. It's an animal. It's a mammal. There are 4 species. They're Australian. They're from New Guinea. And they are spiny anteaters. They're very, very peculiar. But there they are. They are animals. Well done to Keely. Keely is actually somebody who has a brain. Well done, Keely. Okay, what do Sol Campbell, Bram Stoker, Lord Brown, Michael Bloomberg, Mick Jagger, and Sylvia Pankhurst have in common? What do they have in common? They haven't got big teeth, no. They've got no brain. That might be true, I don't know. They all hate garlic. Football. They're all vampires. No. They're not relatives of Cilla Black. No. They're related to the king. They're not Jewish. I could do a Jewish quiz, couldn't I? Yeah, they're not all people with young children. They've not all got an OBE. Cliff Richard hates them. No, I don't believe. Well, he might do. He's just a disgusting, hateful person. In full stop, he's the most revolting person on the planet. We all hate Cliff Richard. He should be thrown down the well. Oh God, he's vile. They're not prolific writers. They're not all tax dodgers. No, right? Okay, no point awarded. Sorry, my random question was a bit too random for you. You see, this is good for my quiz book because we're going to have to eliminate a few questions. You won't be able to do it. So you can't answer this question because you're all weak-minded. And my book audience will be even more weak-minded. So We'll have to get rid of this question. Oh dear. But of course, no, they all lived on Cheney Walk, Chelsea. It's a very simple question. I would have been able to answer that within a minute. It was such a simple question in my mind. But anyway, it wasn't in yours. So, right, we've got to reconsider that question. That's one that will go on the list to be reconsidered. Okay, final question. Not that we are going to get any different winner on this quiz. Who planned Donatella Versace's? Sorry, who played Donatella Versace in the 2018 miniseries "The Assassination of Gianni Versace: American Crime Story"? Who played her? James Webb gets a point. Well done, James Webb. Of course, it was Penelope Cruz. James Webb gets 1 point, but that doesn't help you because the winner in our quiz is Audrey. Audrey wins the prize because Audrey got 5 out of 20. So nobody ever gets more than 5 in this quiz because, you're all quite competitive. We've got some good second places with Sandy D and Lois Petzold. Well done. You both got 2. So I'm not going to go into all the others, but well done to you, the other participants. Thank you for joining in. Absolutely fabulous. You've made a great effort. It's been wonderful. But anyway, that quiz is over, so that's done. Yeah, thank you. You've been absolutely great. Wonderful. I don't know if we can. I don't know if I have. I don't know if I have the energy to do another. But I've been going for 2.5 hours now, so it's 2 hours 11. Sorry, on this particular program. I don't know if I can do another, but if you really need one, you can have another. You want another? Right. You want another? Oh, you need your bed. Okay, no, we're going to give up. I'm going to bed. Precisely. It is time for me to go to bed. You're totally right. I'm worn out. I totally agree. I think at this point in this juncture, I will say I'm going to bed tonight, and you've got plenty more for the future. Look, hello. I'm not taking your quizzes away from you. It's just tonight I need to go to bed. I am worn out. I'm ready. I'm ready to go to sleep. I'm falling asleep. If you want to have my email address, please send me an email because several of you are asking for my email address. Send me an email, editorial@thesteepletimes.com. Editorial@thesteepletimes.com, and I'll reply to your emails if it's relevant. So please send me an email and then I will reply. I'm not giving out any other email, but that's just a general email. You can find it on our website. If you want to send me a message, that's very nice. I don't know why you want to send me a message, but if you need to contact me and you want to contact me, I don't know why, but I don't want anything to do with Cilla Black. I can't stand the woman. I think she's disgusting. Awful, awful. One of the worst people I've ever met in my life. No thanks. So don't want that. Editorial. Thank you, Keely. You've been sharing my email address. That's very kind. Cliff Richard, I don't want anything to do with him. He's disgusting, revolting, and when he's dead, everyone will know the truth. Let's be honest. Yep. Right. Okay. Not Lucy Letby. Please don't start about Lucy Letby. She's a wicked, evil woman. Mark my words. I will not shut up about Lucy Letby. Lucy Letby is one of the most vicious, vile people on the planet. And those parents of hers, there's something wrong about them. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You all keep believing in your little... even if she is proven to be innocent, I won't be changing my mind. She is a manipulative, evil witch. She should be burnt at the stake, that evil woman. She's disgusting. What she did to those children, wrong. So no, I'm not going to be changing my mind about Lucy Letby. Lucy Letby is a monster. And her parents are equally weird. Something very weird about those two. Don't like them. I will never stop speaking what I believe to be the truth. So don't try and silence me, because you're never going to win. I am me, myself, and I. There you go. You think I should get some rest? Yes. I do think I should get some rest. I totally agree. I want to go to sleep now. Yes. Well, what I say to you all is take care. Good gardening. Take care. Have a lovely night. Sleep tight and have a lovely night. You know, you're wonderful people. You're great supporters. We won't tolerate any more of these nonsensical morons. So go for it. Yes, good night. Take care. Bye-bye. I don't know how to turn it off, but there we are. Anyway, off to bed I go.